The following presentation is an AI-free production, 100% researched, written, and edited by actual human beings. All mistakes are purely human error, guaranteed.
Hello, dig for bone.
Hello, and welcome to the Least Haunted Podcast, a place for science, skepticism, humor, and anthropology meet to discuss all things spooky, haunting, supernatural, and sometimes just the plain ridiculous. I'm your host, Cody Franks, and joining me as almost always is veering vociferously to vocal vagaries of valiantly vaulting verdescent vagabond, voracious and viewing a veritable veranda of various verisimilitude, vamping vexillological validities, valuing vampires and valkyries, viscerally voiding...
You keep going.
Viscerally voiding visual hokum.
Garth. Hokum. Hi, everybody. It's me, Garth. I am the co-host again this time. Welcome to the show, the Least Haunted Podcast.
I think I just blew somebody's... we have bingo cards now, by the way.
Oh.
If you join the Discord,
they're actual... Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, there's a limited number. Anyway, we have bingo cards, and one of the bingo squares is Cody makes it through Garth's moniker on the first try. So somebody just did not get a point. They were like, God damn it! But that moniker, that came from the Discord as well, and that was a team effort from Monaken with 3 N's, Lord Havelock, and New Jared.
Well, thanks, everybody.
And we have a Patreon.
Oh, yeah, we do. That's a good point. You're right. We do.
Patreon.com/leasthaunted.
Yes.
And one last thing before we get into it to waste everybody's time, but it's not a waste of time to us.
No.
If you like the show, take a moment to like it,
Comment, like it.
Comment,
on
like,
all of the podcast
review.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Do all the stuff because, we haven't had a new review in a long time.
But we've been having more listeners lately. In the last month or so, we've been jumping up. I guess word of mouth spreads, and it's pretty exciting to see.
And if you can't if you can't join the Patreon, but you still want to help us out, the best way to do it is, how it works. You tell a friend, and then they tell a friend.
Yep.
Well, you know how these things start. One guy tells another guy something, and then he tells 2 friends. And they tell 2 friends, and they tell their friends, and so on, and so on, and so on. You know how these things go.
And so on, and so on. Wayne's World clip. Okay.
And now everyone on Earth has heard the podcast.
Alrighty.
What are we talking about today,
Okay,
Cody?
so today's topic it's about music. It's about inspiration.
Inspiration.
And maybe some ghosts.
Ghost inspiration.
So, Garth, I'm going to play for you a quick piece of music.
Okay.
Or a little snippet of some music here.
Oh, very nice. Ooh, dissonance. Huh. It's forlorn, soothing, and spooky all at once.
That's as much as I'll play of it.
Very nice.
The whole piece is 3 minutes and 31 seconds.
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
So that piece is called Grubelei, or it translates to brooding. So you nailed the feeling of it. You're like, it's okay. By Hungarian composer Franz Liszt, who was born on
Liszt.
October 22nd, 1811, and died July 31st, 1886. Yet the piece you just heard, reportedly by Liszt, was composed in 1969.
Not recorded, but written.
Yes. And recorded in 1969.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, that doesn't quite add up time-wise. So what are we... I can see where we're going here. I can tell already, but what?
So today we're going to hear the story of Rosemary Brown, the composer who channeled dead people.
Okay. That's a process. Okay. I'd like to hear how this works.
Okay. So, born on July 27th, 1916, in Belham, southwest London, Rosemary Dickinson had a fairly common childhood for the time. By some accounts, her father was, quote, bad-tempered. However, other things for her were pretty normal for, a child. She did some ballet. Everything was kind of a normal childhood.
Yeah.
Except at the age of 7, she claimed that she was visited by the spirit of an old man
Okay.
with long white hair who was wearing a long black robe.
It's a wizard.
And he told her that someday he would return to her for a very important task.
Ah.
It would be decades before he did return again and his true identity and the mission was revealed. But that
Whoa.
will come up.
Oh, okay.
But from that time on, she said that she kind of experienced ESP type things, extrasensory perception. She had a little bit of a psychic ability, but she kind of suppressed it because she realized at an early age that this is what, 1920s, which
Okay,
this is weird because spiritualism was really big at the time, but she also felt that it would ostracize her from her peer group, or
Well,
they
it-
would
Yeah, I mean, it
push
was
her away.
it was popular at the time in some circles, but it doesn't mean that it was socially celebrated by everyone.
Yeah,
So
she-
I'm not super surprised she would keep that
She
on the
thought it
down
would make
low.
it, hard for her to fit in, so she
Sure.
just kind of ignored it. At the age of 15, she began working for the post office.
Ah.
And then in 1952, she married Charles Brown. Good
Good
grief.
grief.
Good grief. And then they had that's why she's Rosemary Brown.
Okay.
And they had a son and a daughter. So by all reports, her marriage to Charles was very happy and a very loving one. She also remained close to her mother. They were all living together in the house she grew up in with her mom. Her dad was out of the picture by this point. I think he died, raged himself to death or something.
Ooh.
So he's gone. All was going well until 1961, which ended up being a very difficult year for Rosemary because within the span of a few months, her husband, Charles, suddenly died. And then quickly afterwards, her mom died as well.
Okay.
So she lost her husband and her mom, her
Oof.
two, and now she finds herself as a single mother
mom. Yeah. Wow.
with 2 young children. And she no longer has the familial support of her mom to help her. And so she's struggling. So she takes on a new job. I guess when she married Charles, she no longer worked at the post office. I guess he was supporting them. So now she has to get a job, and she gets a job as a school cafeteria lady.
Oh wow.
Lord sandwich, sloppy Joe, sloppy Joe, sloppy
Sloppy Joe, we're sloppy Joe. The song
No,
Lunch
no.
Lady Land.
No.
Oh, it's Chris Farley dancing around.
Ah.
Then, in 1964, the old man in the black frock returned.
Oh, how old is she now?
She is
40?
in her. So this is in. So her husband and mom died in 61. So now it's in 1964. She had an accident at work in the cafeteria, and so it injured herself. So she was home on rest, and that's when this spirit appeared to her, and he was Franz Liszt.
The man with the beard and wearing all black?
He had long hair, not a beard,
Oh, okay.
and wearing black. And here's the thing: is that Franz Liszt, towards the end of his life, took to wearing a priest's frock,
Oh, interesting.
and he had kind of long white hair.
I wonder if she knew that already.
Maybe.
Hard to say. Okay.
So he shows up to her and he's like, I'm here. Here's the purpose for you is that you are going to help me and others complete unfinished works. There's a bunch of us composers who are tired of decomposing and we're ready to get back into it. And so what we're going to do is use you as our vessel, and you are going to do this for us. And she had
Did she have musical experience?
very little, although
Okay.
this we'll get into more later. It depended, throughout time she kind of, I don't want to say lied. She underplayed or downplayed how much she actually had. But even when you
Oh.
tally up how much she really did have, it isn't a lot. So she did a little bit of ballet as a child, so she may have become acquainted to classical songs at that time, like
Okay.
ballet stuff. She did 2 years of piano as a teenager at school. And then when she was 35, she bought an upright piano and kind of dallied around with it.
Okay.
But they
An amateur music
amateur
enthusiast. Yeah.
So if you like tallied up the formal education there, it's like 18 months. I think somebody
Okay.
somebody
But
actually
if
went and
she's been
figured it out.
thinking about it and playing with it for a while,
Yeah.
does she could get a little quite a ways. Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
oh, sorry. And before Liszt shows up, the other thing is that she had recently started kind of playing with the piano again, and at a local church, she had been invited to like play their organ.
Okay.
So she's kind of getting into it. That's when Liszt shows up, gives her the mission. And then she's like, okay. And so she starts like working with Franz Liszt, telling her she's telling her what to do. And while she's doing this, she's still playing the organ at the church, and she's getting better at the organ.
Okay.
Getting better at the drums.
Yeah. I think I'm getting good.
Because she's getting better at playing the organ at the church, she's then invited to play at the Wimbledon branch of the church's Fellowship for Psychical Studies.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, that works really well.
Yes.
She was invited by them.
Yeah.
She,
Because I think
did she have a relationship already, or did she seek them out? Because that's like perfect.
So that's the hard thing I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Because I actually didn't read her autobiography. And I've read different articles, and some have more details than others. I even watched, spoilers, she gets enough notoriety that the BBC does a documentary on her in like 1969.
Oh,
She
wow.
becomes the subject of films. She becomes a minor celebrity. So we're jumping ahead there.
Okay.
At some point, she starts telling people that she is writing these musical pieces with the help of the dead, or for them.
Right.
And the list of who she's doing it for starts to grow.
Right.
So starts with Franz Liszt. Eventually it will be Bach, Beethoven. We're going in alphabetical here.
Okay.
Bach, Beethoven, Berlioz, Brahms, Debussy, Delius, Grieg, Handel, Monteverdi, Mozart, Poulenc, Rachmaninoff,
Wow.
and then both Schumanns, Robert and Clara, Schubert, Scriabin, Johann Strauss, Stravinsky, Gershwin,
Wow.
and eventually John Lennon. Someday.
Yeah, we need another 10 years after
Okay.
1969 for that. Well, I'm sure we'll get into this, but that's a wide range of composers. I don't know a whole lot about classical music, but I've heard a bit, and that's a wide range of styles. And I'm
Yes.
curious how well she emulates each one.
Okay, so
Like the differences between
she
them.
starts sending her transcripts that she's writing down to a musicologist, I think in Scotland, at like a Royal College in Edinburgh, named Mary Firth. She's actually the musical director at the college. And so she's sending it to her, and Mary's checking it out and is like, this stuff seems kind of legit, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is actually like, it's in the style of these people.
Yeah.
In a way that like somebody who doesn't have a lot of musical training should not be that adept, you know?
Well, and it's something to actually write down the music. Like, there's a lot to musical notation and stuff, and if she's just an amateur and she's able to write these things down that to a professional looks pretty legit, that's very impressive.
Yeah. Oh, I got the story wrong. See, this is an example of how things are a lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of what has.
Oh yeah, I would expect no less.
Okay. The way the music made it to Mary Firth was it was shown to her by a guy named a Sir George Trevelyan
Oh, okay.
or Trevelyan.
Okay.
He was a member of that church fellowship where she came and performed. He then took the pieces, showed it to Mary Firth. That's how
Got it.
that connection happened.
Okay.
My apologies.
Oh no, that works. Okay, so I think I'm caught up. It's just one more person in the string. Okay.
So then Mary Firth and Sir George Trevelyan, they then actually managed to put together a collection. Like, they basically give her a stipend. She doesn't have to work anymore. It's like she gets a patronage where it's like, yeah, just start doing your music.
Yeah.
Right. That arrangement only lasted for 2 years because she felt that it was like now she had an obligation to produce.
Oh, it's different.
Yeah,
it's different when
and
when you're paid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Now you gotta stand and deliver.
Yeah.
Mm.
So how did these dead composers come to her? Like, and how did they help her do this? And she said it actually varied from composer to composer.
Okay.
So she said, like, Franz Liszt would almost like She said it was like he would take over her hands as if putting on gloves, and she would then
Oh,
like, just be
she
playing.
could just kick back.
Yeah, and playing it, but then she has to transcribe it.
Oh, see, it would
Right.
have been nice if he had just taken over her hands and written it for
Yeah.
her.
She said others would then like dictate to her note by note, you know, like put an E and then this, you know,
Oh,
quarter
God.
note, and they would dictate that way. Some would just sing the melodies to her, and it was up to her to figure out. As to why her, she's like,
Yeah.
why me? She said that Liszt explained to her that one, it was because that she had so little musical training that she was kind of a blank slate that they could control.
Oh,
She
that
wouldn't
makes
have her
sense,
own
doesn't it?
preconceived style that she would be trying to
Ooh,
impose.
yeah, that makes sense.
But she had enough training that she could kind of like,
If
you know,
you're a ghost and you want to inspire somebody, you don't want them to stick their
yeah,
put their spin on it. You want them to know as little as possible about the medium that you're
yeah.
you know, projecting through them.
And
That makes
then
sense.
another reason, very sexist, is that because she was a woman, and that they figured that because she was a woman, she didn't have that male energy that would try to also like make her talk back or like resist.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Just
Wasn't
don't
there-
resist. Just let the music happen.
Wasn't there one woman in the list
Yes,
of musicians
yeah.
though? Okay.
So while this is going on, she starts taking some lessons again because she's like, well, I should at least get a little bit better. I mean, she is getting lessons in theory from like the greats,
Well,
but she also
yeah,
wants to take
a
actual
crash course in
yeah.
very advanced music. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if that's as good as regular lessons. But they wouldn't want her to get lessons.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
she said also was so that she wanted the lessons so that she could then play the music to a higher to their standard, a higher standard.
Yeah, I would expect that would be a big hurdle
Yeah.
too.
She actually ends up getting a recording contract, but she's not the one playing it. It's the contract is to publish.
She's the composer, not the
and
musician.
yeah, and they're having another musician do it.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were they any good? How accurate were they? Like, what was the reception? Well, she got a lot of positive feedback. So there was a guy, Vernon Harrison. He was part of the official Franz Liszt Society and the Society for Psychical Research. So he's a little skewed because he already believes in psychics.
Yeah.
But also remember the Society for Psychical Research was like Harry Price's old buddies that he split with, who were like,
Right.
they believed it was real, but they also were like trying to take a scientific approach.
Yeah, so they wouldn't easily be hoodwinked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said that the pieces were not good enough to carry conviction. This is a quote, not good enough to carry conviction that they emanate from the sources to which she attributes them, but they are too good to dismiss lightly.
Okay.
He was particularly impressed with that piece that I played for you, Grubelei. And here's the thing about that piece. That was dictated to her on camera, live, during a BBC television show.
Oh,
They
wow.
gave her a blank piece of staff paper, and she wrote that
Okay.
live.
So, looking at different possibilities, she could, I guess, have come up
Memorized
with
it, yeah.
memorized it ahead
Right.
of time. But that is pretty impressive. Yeah.
I put out some feelers to people who are musically inclined, have musical training, to get feedback on that.
Yeah, I'm curious what.
So
they
I put a
made of
call out.
this.
First, I put a call out on our Discord. I'm going to open that up now so that I can read the thing. I just basically said like, hey, does anybody have formal musical training who can like help me out with a few questions? And so the questions I was asking were things like, how difficult would it be to write out an orchestra piece without having an instrument there and just add it from your head?
Yeah.
Because that's like what Mozart and Beethoven,
Sure.
they were at the piano.
Yeah,
but
they
could
were imagining all the other
exactly.
instruments.
And
yeah.
that also meant that they had to be confident enough to play them, because she's not just writing piano pieces. She's actually turned out, at one point she wrote like 2 operas.
Wow.
She was coming out with like vocal parts and vibratos for people to sing. She turned out close to 600 original compositions.
Oh my
Original in
gosh.
quotes, right? Compositions from the
Wow.
whole wide gamut of composers that we mentioned. Okay, so I put the call out. I got a response from Discord user Millie B, who said that composing music just via paper and with no instruments if you can't play an instrument and you've never read music, you'd probably write gobbledygook. I've seen plenty of t-shirt designs and birthday cards with, quote, sheet music that's just nonsense with upside down symbols and stuff. But if you're familiar with musical notation and are familiar with the musician you were copying in their style, and best of all, you'd memorized a few key chords, progressions, and melodies, you could write something, quote, Mozart-y with nothing but with a pencil and paper. So it can be done if you're trained for it.
Yeah, and if you recognize and can recreate the patterns.
Yeah, and Millie B also pointed out that the interesting thing is that it's a wide variety of composers and genres and styles.
That's what's so impressive
to be
to me about all
in
of this.
Yes, to be competent.
Yeah.
One person who was actually impressed by her one of her pieces and actually performed it, I think, and played it was Leonard Bernstein.
Leonard Bernstein!
Wow.
Yes, Leonard Bernstein.
That's pretty good. That's high praise.
He was impressed with Chopin. Yeah, thank you. He was impressed with a Chopin piece called Fantasy Impromptu. Another musicologist and expert, Humphrey Searle, praised the Schubert piece Moment Musical in G minor. And also in regard to that Liszt piece that I played for you, he said, quote, "It is the sort of piece Liszt could well have written, particularly during the last 15 years of his life." So there are some people who are experts who are like, no, this is, I mean,
wow,
maybe not Ghost, but it is definitely passable, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody is impressed. One of the people that I reached out to is our good friend, Mr. Brian Callahan.
Oh, I was wondering if you're going to reach out to him. He'd be a great person to ask about this.
So I reached out to Brian. So our friend Brian, who wrote the original Least Haunted theme. If you go back to the first episodes.
In the darkened corridor.
That's our buddy Brian. Who's also in my my old band with me. He's like a musical savant. Like, no joke.
He's an amazing musician.
Musical genius, jazz, blues, rock, folk,
plays many
everything,
instruments
and classical stuff.
He knows music theory.
He is a musical he teaches music at a middle school now. Okay, so let's see. This is his response to her piece Nocturne in A flat from Chopin. Why do I keep saying it that way?
Chopin?
I don't know. Because it's spelled Chopin.
Well, I say Chopin. That's
but
probably
you're right.
anglicized.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go.
Not correct.
You know, I'm not even that skeptical of metaphysical stuff, but she did not receive Nocturne in A flat from Chopin. No flourish, tiny little scalar run at the end. There's too much predictable relative modulation. Give me a cadenza here. The chromatic shifts were predictable, as was the form. Chopin would not co-sign this alleged co-creation. The callback to other works in the beginning only indicates that someone trying to sound like Chopin wrote this piece, which is fine, but this emulation simply isn't brilliant enough to sound like a Chopin nocturne.
Damn.
If you close your eyes and listen to it, you know it's definitely a different composer. If this seems harsh at all, it's only because I went in listening and really wanting to believe. But unfortunately, as a music student and music teacher, I can't sign off on her medium composition techniques as real, and I think we can just let Chopin decompose.
Damn. All right, well, that's the end of the podcast.
But it's not.
Okay, he just buried any... Not that I had doubt that I thought she was actually being controlled by ghosts, but that's withering criticism.
Other critics were also, just as critical.
Yeah.
Talking about how some of them, they lost their harmonic cohesion as the piece went on. Some had slight imperfections that shouldn't be there. Her rebuttal to the imperfections is she's like, well, yeah, I'm doing my best. I'm not a musician.
Yeah, I was listening for it and did my best to write it down.
Yeah, right.
I guess a way to test that would be to give a couple of different musics to somebody like Brian, and some would be obscure songs written by the actual person, and others would be the fake, and see if they can tell.
You're right. Yeah, you need to do that blind ear test. Other people said that it seemed that none of the pieces showed any development of new techniques. It's like if they've been dead for years and thinking about it, they've had time to think and they can come up with stuff.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you want to get into like what can a ghost learn,
Yeah.
that could be a whole other question.
Well, apparently they
of,
can
like,
learn
Can
English.
you continue to? Yeah,
Because that was a criticism that came up
That's a
too.
real- honestly, it's a really good point. So right there, that proved that they can learn more than they knew in their lives.
Yes.
So they would, in theory, continue to develop
They
as
also-
musicians, as ghosts.
They, also, none of them finished prior unfinished works. These were all new things
you
that
think
she was coming
you'd
up with.
want to do that first?
Yeah.
At least some artists. I know, as an artist myself, it's always more fun to start a new project than to finish
Yeah.
an old one. But okay.
She continued doing this for the rest of her life. She died in 2001 at the age of 89. Like I said, she really did at one point, like other artists started to come to her. So she didn't really stay in her musical lane. She branched out and started doing like paintings and writing. And they were being dictated to her by like authors and painters.
Oh, so she continued to be dictated to, but
Yes.
wow, I'd like to see some of the paintings. That's
She
interesting.
also said that in like 1984 or 5, John Lennon came to her and gave her 3 songs. People,
It was Free as a Bird, Real Love, and Now and Then. Amazing.
one of the criticisms of the John Lennon, let's see if we could find it. Oh, here we go. This is from Bill Berry, who was an expert on John Lennon's lyrics, said, quote, John Lennon never wrote songs as bad as that.
Oof. And he wrote a few clunkers too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's one that is so egregiously questionable.
Woman is of the world.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. With a hard R and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a metaphor, I guess. I don't know.
Mm.
Anyway, yeah. So I don't know if a ghost John Lennon would necessarily make anything that would surprise me or make me think that's not. I mean, who knows? Yeah.
So, what's really going on?
Yep.
What is my thoughts on it? Like, the takeaway, like,
Yeah.
we're going to wrap up the story, but this is actually going to lead into Garth's Corner.
Well, Garth's Corner, yeah.
And a broader conversation. But first,
But
we're going to go compose some bones.
let's compose our bones.
We at the Least Haunted Podcast stand with those of the LGBTQIA+ community and especially want to voice our support for the trans community, masculine, feminine, non-binary, and every other of the beautiful assortment of people who are going through so much vitriol and hate in these difficult times.
We welcome you to join our friendly and supportive Discord, and if you want to help support the community or need help yourself, we fully endorse the Trans Lifeline at translifeline.org. We can get through this together.
You are all deserving of life and love. And remember,
The world's more beautiful with you in it.
Okay, rolling now.
Well, those were some bones, weren't they? I just dunked my head in the pool, and I'm feeling awake.
All right. So, what's really going on here and my thoughts on the whole thing.
Okay.
So there are people who are quick to call her a fraud and people who might be inclined to put her into the same category as other like hoaxers and frauds. Like, is Rosemary Brown like Sylvia Brown?
Well, that's my, as someone who isn't really entertaining the idea that this is ghosts, my big question is, does she believe this herself, right?
Yeah, so here's some quotes from her, and then we'll get into the, other people's investigations into her and so forth. She said, quote, I am not a trained musician. I have no natural talent, no wide musical knowledge, and certainly no desire to perform party trick pieces like chopsticks in the style of Rachmaninoff. The compositions I produce are not skillful pastiche, but entirely new works which bear all the characteristic style of their composers while containing no more than the odd bar or two echoed from a previous work. I was understandably worried about this proposed ordeal, but Liszt appeared the night before and tried to put my mind at ease. Get in first, he said. Tell them you know about people who can produce music in the style of a certain composer, but they are trained musicians, whereas you are not.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of her
Good advice,
defense
Liszt.
about it.
Yeah.
She did get that brief patronage, right, where she quit after 2 years because she felt like, well, now I'm obligated to keep producing.
Yeah, because she had that record deal.
She got a record deal, and her pieces continue to be played to this day. But now they say that it's the official label is like inspired by. They'll say like,
There you go.
You know, right?
That's a good compromise.
But she always maintained that she was the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
She spoke to psychologists at the time. Some notable psychologists did, they interviewed her and analyzed her and came back like, no, she's got no like real abnormalities.
Okay.
She was always very humble and like downplayed her abilities. But that could also be part of the ruse, right? But she also isn't making a lot of money. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself.
That's a big important factor as always. Like, is she making a lot of money off of this? Yeah.
There were some things that she wasn't entirely truthful of. Like, for example, that initially she said she had no musical training, and then you dig a little deeper. It's like, nah, you still had some. And some people still argue that even more. I asked Brian about this. And he said, the thing is that you can't prove how much somebody has practiced.
Yeah.
You can tell how much they haven't practiced. That's pretty easy. He's like, but you cannot like, somebody
coming from a music teacher.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's like, because some people might just be really good already,
Yeah,
or
they have an ear for it.
they achieved in a few hours. It might take somebody else longer. He's like, there is no way to accurately kind of judge that. So
you can just tell if they haven't. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
her neighbors all claim that like they didn't hear a lot of excess piano playing other than her like working on the compositions through the walls, and that prior to the composition
that
starting,
actually is a pretty important data point there.
They
That's
weren't really.
interesting.
Yeah, they said they weren't hearing her doing a lot of practicing even before the composition
Yeah, if she'd been
started.
diddling around on a piano every day for years, that would be a pretty different
And
story.
we know that she did, and she was starting to play at the local church, so she
Sure.
was getting some skill that was going on. A consensus that seemed to come out from psychologists at the time is that this is the most well-documented case of, they call it cryptomnesia, which is that like she had made herself forget or forgot that she was familiar with a bunch of classical music more so than she thought. And so
it's like an amnesia.
Yeah, and so what she's doing is it's her subconscious is recombining, because they kind of analyzing the works seems to suggest that they're all just recombinations of earlier works.
What
in a
we
new
were
way.
hearing is they were kind of derivative.
Yeah,
of,
derivative and like remixes.
Mozart had me do this, and when you break it down, it's really just a bunch of different Mozart
Yes,
songs.
and so it might be that she
remixed,
was
yeah.
subconsciously just like forgetting that she'd heard these pieces, and she's doing this all subconsciously. I mean, she fervently denied that was the case. She's like, no, I'm psychic. I'm really talking to these people. Here's my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I really like Rosemary Brown. I am in her. I
Yeah,
don't think she's talking to ghosts.
I'm definitely on her side too.
I
I want her to be vindicated to
Yeah,
the degree that it's possible.
She is not talking to ghosts. I will not concede that. I teased on Discord that this upcoming episode was going to be the spiritual successor to Om Seti.
Right.
And also Ghost Riders in AI. So similar topics. There was a guy, I can't remember his name, it was one of in the BBC documentary I was watching. He commented that he also did not believe that these were ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he thinks that she has latent musical ability, that if her life had been different and somebody had identified that when she was a child, she probably could have been a prodigy.
So she just has an innate sense for it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that would explain a lot.
She is
yeah.
like, has a prodigy level of music that if she had gotten training early on, she could have actually been like, he said she could have been a really great composer.
Well, and everybody has innate abilities,
Yeah.
but whether or not you are grow up in a environment that allows you to explore those.
And that's
Yeah.
another thing is some people have suggested that she adopted the whole ghosts are telling me this as a way to almost like, kind of like with Om Seti. She's like, I'm the reincarnation
Mm-hmm.
of, this priestess. And that's why I know these things. In this case, she's like, no, I'm like an amateur, but like my stuff's really good because it comes from these other people. It kind of like makes her more legitimate.
Well, and it's also a way if people who have a big ego and think they're hot shit are going to be like, yeah, that's me. But other people who maybe are very talented, but they'd like to distract from feeling like you're just
Yeah.
celebrating yourself might find that as a useful way to be in the public eye. Be like, well,
Yeah.
this isn't really me. I'm just channeling
But also
this.
a bit egotistical. This is like, I can write as well as the greats. But
No, not really, because what she's saying
Yeah.
is that the greats are writing through me.
yeah.
So I think it's a humble approach, especially if she's not making a whole lot of money.
Yeah, watching her talk, she's very soft-spoken. She's a middle-aged single mother.
She doesn't strike me as she doesn't have the vibe of a used car salesman,
Yeah.
that kind of.
I mean, I think that she went a bit far with the John Lennon thing, where it's like, whoa, come on. So my thought, but here's
maybe.
my thought though, is what happened is she could have, had this latent musical ability that was kind of ignored. She dabbled with it a few times, but then the stress of losing her husband
yeah.
and her mother so quickly together. And then, I mean, that was in 1961. It's 3 years later when suddenly these dead composers, she was stressed out working this job. Then she injured herself. I think a bunch of stress was on her. And it almost is like, I think she truly believed that this was happening. I think she really did believe that she was talking to these people or that they were inspiring her. And it was a coping mechanism for this stress that she was under. She basically had like a dissociative break.
That's interesting, yeah.
Which is, there's no shame in that at all.
Well, I mean, it happens.
It happens.
Yeah, when you're put under enough stress in your
And
life.
when that
can
happened,
happen.
she fell back on like she had this music in her already.
Mm-hmm.
And now I also wanted like, that brings up this other part of the conversation, which is plagiarism.
Yeah.
Because that's where we
Yeah.
get into the AI thing.
Okay, yeah. Now,
But do we want to do Garth's Corner first? And
Well,
then
so
talk-
Garth's Corner is a loose structure for us to just talk about what it is for you and I as creators of things and artists.
Okay.
Like, where does the muse come from? How do you feel inspired? What is your process? That's kind of what I want to
Okay.
discuss in Garth's Corner. So, let's talk about that and then talk about iterative art and
Okay.
what is original, because
Yeah.
I think those all go together. So, without further ado, and we have another Monster Squatty.
Yeah. Woo!
And so that's Ian. And so here's a song dedicated to Ian.
Ian insists on sitting, but he's not close to quitting. He's got a thought to do. He's got to think up a new thing, insisting that his new concept is brand new. He sitting for several bits, but nothing.
You get nothing.
But Ian does not give up. He's allocated time to sit. Ian insists on sitting in deepening consternation. He wants to be bitten by the muse of inspiration. Oh shit, there it is. Oh, I missed it again. God damn it. I'm gonna catch it. He gets it! A new thought, but he does not know from whence. Oh, it was got. Whence was it got? Well, we shall explore this concept and more in following Garth's Corner.
Welcome to Garth's Corner. Oh boy, here we go. So rather than having done a lot of research, I just thought we would talk about so
like we already are.
the muse
Yeah.
is this whole idea of some external source of inspiration that floats around in the ether and that will pop down into the minds of creative people, and suddenly they have this thing that they didn't
Yeah.
before. And so, you sit at your blank canvas for hours trying to think of something, and suddenly it pops in. Oh, I got visited by the muse. I can see why that's been such a popular a concept, because I don't know about you, but for me, sometimes it's a struggle creating a new thing, and other times it just comes at you, especially at weird times when you're driving or in
Yeah.
the shower.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think that's because when your brain, your mind has to be able to wander.
it doesn't often work when you're trying.
Yeah.
You know, if you're sitting there just staring at a blank page, that's like the worst thing.
Well,
at least for me.
Telling somebody to relax.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same kind of thing.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And it does strike in weird places and at weird times. With Rosemary Brown, as an example.
Did she talk about her process?
No, it was just that they would, just how they would do it. Sometimes her hands moved and knew, other times she heard it in her head and wrote it down, but it was always being imparted to her by these people.
But she never discussed whether or not, like, yep, at 6 o'clock in the evening every day, I sit down and hope
not
that
I'm
one of
aware
the
of.
composers will come down.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. But here's the thing. Classical composers reworked each other's shit all the time. Like Beethoven did like 30 variations of a Mozart thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so that was a common thing. But they usually called them like a meditation on.
So they would give proper attribution.
Yes. It'd be like, variations on a theme by Chopin.
Well, and it seems that up until pretty recently in musical history that was everything was fair game. I mean, you look at all the old
folk
bluegrass
songs.
folk songs, they were all versions of each other's, and nobody was like worried about getting sued. It was just music.
Yeah, you were making, because it wasn't commodified, making money.
Once you commodify it and you can make a living on it, and then there's intellectual property, it's a whole other thing. And that's we act like that's normal, and it's not like it's a bad thing. People who are artists should be able to make money, but like it is a recent thing, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, when people had patrons, the art they created belonged to the patron.
Sure, but you wouldn't have to pay. As far as I know, if you did your own, if you went to the Sistine Chapel and then drew some of the stuff Michelangelo painted, I don't think you had to like pay a fee.
No. And here's the other thing is that the reason that composers were doing this, and it's also similar to something that some painters do, and I'm sure you've done it yourself, is copying the work of the greats.
Oh yeah,
helps you learn their technique.
Yeah, and that's a very important thing to do. Yes. I mean, as musicians, you do covers of songs you like to learn how it was made. Yeah. Usually, you'll if you paint a straight reproduction of something, you'll just say after before the name of the thing. Like if I was going to do some famous painting, I would just say after the name of the painting. Yeah. And this is not, so that's proper attribution, and it's also just practice.
Yeah. Yeah. So the fact that this is how music has worked for a very long time, and that classical composers were doing this, and the artists do this, Rosemary Brown doing it is fine.
It's a little different because she is saying that they're doing it through her, not that she's inspired because she's a fan. Yeah. So she's putting her own fun story to it.
Yeah. And today, her pieces, when they are performed, and they're still performed, like I said, they always do say that it's, they give her the attribution as the composer, and it will say, like, inspired by.
It's kind of nice, actually. She's given more credit than she was even trying to get.
Yes.
In a way,
And I think that was the key thing, is that, she wasn't giving herself enough credit for what she was doing.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Because even just to have the skill...
She's the opposite of a hack. She's like an inverted hack. She's actually creating new things and pretending it wasn't her.
And the idea that that she was able to, just to actually be a person who can rearrange and remix all these things without a computer, without AI, no algorithms, doing it just from like, I understand the process of this composer, and these pieces would go together in their style, and doing that is
that
impressive.
Itself is a creative act.
Is there nothing of data in what I'm hearing? You see, you chose the violinist. Heifetz and Bronken have radically different styles, different techniques, and yet you combine them successfully.
You recombine them in a new way.
Yeah.
That's actually creative data.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Creative data. Speaking of AI.
Yeah. So we're about to jump into AI, but I wanted to continue to speak a little more about our processes.
Yeah, sorry.
I consider myself very much an amateur musician. I'm a professional visual artist, but I just enjoy doing the ditties. That's the Garth's Corner thing. I mean, that's all for fun. I like that. I like having a artistic outlet that I don't take seriously. because the stakes are low and I can just goof around and I don't care if it's not good. That's why I keep them short so that hopefully even if they're annoying, the songs are over fast. But it's a lot of fun to do. And I know for me, when I do the Gart's Corner songs, I have a number of different approaches, and I'd be curious to compare our different songwriting creating styles, because you are a musician and you make songs as well.
Yeah, for me, it usually actually oftentimes will start with lyrics first.
Okay, that's the big question, right? Because sometimes people do one or the other.
As a teenager, before I ever played any instruments, back in high school, I had a reputation for being a poet. Like amongst like my at the
that was your approach though, as a
yes,
a
and
writer
so
of
like
words first.
so I mean, I remember doing once in high school, we did a recitation where another student who later went on to become a professional rapper. Who like toured and played with big names like Snoop Dogg and Andre Nicotina and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
It was me versus him, where he would do a rap and then I would read one of my poems, and we were doing like a battle in that way. And we didn't structure it, but somehow the pieces that we were each doing actually like played off of each other.
Were you improvising at all, or were they?
No, these were like I had prepared poems that I had written. I had like a couple dozen.
Wow, but they all flowed.
And they all like worked out together. But I think what happened is then we started like playing off each other. Where it's like, oh, you did that one. Okay, well let me go through and I'll do this one instead.
you were making up on the spot which one you were going to do next in response. Got it.
And then I didn't start playing an instrument until my senior year of college, so like 2009.
So for me, I tend to do the lyrics first as well. And one of the things I've found is that I tend to, and I'm just struggling to break against this, because I tend, when I write the lyrics without a melody, I do it with kind of the same number of syllables per line with the same rhyme meter. It all sort of sounds like Dr. Seuss. And so breaking away from that, you almost have to have some melody in mind to give you space so that you're not just filling up
and that's what eventually would happen.
Everything with syllables.
Yeah, because then how my writing process for that starts is usually it starts with a single line that, like, usually it's a turn of phrase or
some hook.
It pops into my head, and then I start building around that. And once I have that verse, I'm like, okay, well, there's the scheme and how many syllables I need to now match that. And so then it starts following that formula, and sometimes it doesn't. But
at what point does the melody kick in? Do you do the chords first, and then the melody erupts out of that?
Well, here's what happens: is sometimes I have a melody, but then when I sit down to my instrument, it changes.
Oh, that happens to me too. Yeah.
And so then it's like, oh, well, actually, I still have like these words, but this chord progression is really good. I can change a few of these lines.
Yeah.
And tweak them a bit, and it still works. And sometimes it makes it better, and now it fits this new melodic structure. Well, so it is kind of like a balancing where it goes back and forth.
Well, oftentimes for me, I'll have written down like say 3 or 4 stanzas or verses, and in the process of recording demos, I'll switch around lines, and they'll often be connected to each other since they rhyme together, and I don't want to re-rhyme things. But for the flow, I do end up scrambling things up quite often.
And sometimes a theme will emerge, just naturally. You're like, oh, well, what is that verse even about? I don't know. A song that I wrote in my old band, The Ghost of Rights, called Across the Bay.
Oh, that's a good one.
I remember one time I was in Costco with Allison, and we were still dating at the time, and I was still active in the band. And she like brought up one of the lines in that song and how like, wow, that's really deep, and that means a lot to me. And I was like, oh, that? No, that just like fit the structure. It really doesn't mean anything. The line was that every man is an island, searching for the sea, hoping when he finds it, it'll make him happy. Okay. But it's like, I'm just reversing the order of like no man's an island. It's like, okay, it's not that creative. Whereas I have other songs that are like, no, I put like my heart and soul into that, and people are like, I don't get it.
It goes right past them. Yeah,
Yeah.
The eternal struggle of the artist who we're always frustrated by the things that people don't notice or over notice.
Yeah.
That will always be a thing.
But
yes.
that having that interaction with Allison also made me realize that, like, oh man, how many songs that meant so much to me
Yeah.
broke my heart,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
it's just, no, that just, you know, I needed a convenient, you know, 6-syllable word.
It's a story you hear so often when people interview artists and they're hoping for more, and there's like, I don't know, that just worked. I don't even remember what I was thinking. It meant nothing to me. And that's where the listener becomes a contributor to the art, because you're putting an awful lot into it by finding meaning.
And that also is about the, again, that weird inspiration where sometimes you think of something and you do something in a piece of art that doesn't mean that much to you at the moment. And then later you're like,
Sure.
oh.
That can happen.
Like I have another song that through the whole thing, it wasn't until I was done with it, I'm like, oh, there's like 3 really deep cut references to Don Quixote in this song thematically. And I did not even intend that.
I haven't experienced that as much, but I think it's because I haven't written all that many songs. And I've rarely gone back to listen to the ones I've done. And when it comes to visual art, which is what I've spent a lot more time on in my life, it's there's more and less to meaning when it comes to like a painting. Like I might be emulating a style or trying to give a certain vibe, but it doesn't. And I do hide like hidden imagery in paintings plenty of times, but like. I rarely surprise myself later on looking at a thing that I didn't realize. And I think it's just the nature of the style of the medium of art.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have that less in a painting.
I've watched you just doodle and start with something where it's like starting with an eyeball and then working your way out. And I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Like my process is much more deliberate where like, I mean, so all my siblings, very artistic.
Yeah.
My older sister and my younger brother, very visual art. Like they could draw and paint and, you know, really good. Mine always laid more with like 3-dimensional sculpture. I did sculpting
you
in
definitely
college
can.
too.
You can psych out a 3D object really well. I've seen you build a lot of things in 3D.
Yeah. And I don't know why. And I wonder if that's just the way my brain works also plays into the other part where I'm very deliberate about.
Could be.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I've struggled. I mean, if I try, I can sketch and draw things all right.
Well, I have 2 approaches when it comes to art. There's the intentional thing where it's like, well, I'm doing this for a person. It's bespoke art. Somebody's paying me to do this thing,
and they gave you input.
And they have a specific expectation. So that one is a lot more. Well, I know how to do this, so I will do it in the efficient way, and that is much more planning and a little less improvisational creativity. Even though there's plenty of
it's more skill based.
There's
than
plenty
creative.
of problem solving in the process because you're always working out tones and this doesn't look the way I was expecting. I better change this so that this fits. Blah 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 blah. So there still is. I wouldn't do it with my eyes closed. Like you're still working it out, but it's different from what you describe. Watching me just start with an eyeball. That's like automatic. That would be like the equivalent of like playing jazz on a piano where you don't know where you're going. And I think both are important. Like you need to be able to sit there and make a thing, but you also need to be able to have fun without an expectation of the result. And so the times you've seen me doodle, that's me just goofing off.
Yeah. And a lot of my songs happen from me just goofing off
which can often turn into a thing. Yeah. To make no mistake, I wouldn't. They're 2 approaches, but they both can yield important results.
Yeah, I need to get back in the habit. I used to do every morning as soon as Allison left, I'd pull out the banjo.
Well, that's actually been one of the things I love about doing these Garth's Corners is like I've probably done a few dozen little songs.
Yeah.
And some of them are parody songs. There's not a lot of musical creativity to it, but it is fun to just have to do a thing every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that we've discussed our approaches, you wanted to get into AI and what does it mean to be original? Right?
Well, yes, because as I was reading about Rosemary, I was like thinking about, well, now people could feed all this information into, I mean, they regularly do
Oh,
pump
yeah.
out like, here is this song if it was written in the style of this person.
Oh,
And it's
absolutely.
all an AI that's doing it,
Yeah.
training off of other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but like, that's, I mean, I'm against that completely. But I'm okay with Rosemary Brown doing what she did. And I was
Well,
like, well, why?
you know,
And it came down to one, that there's an actual human doing the work. Because
Sure.
also, like, tonight, I'm going to go see Weird Al in concert.
Oh, is that tonight?
That's tonight.
Ooh.
And
I
so
saw him back when I was a teenager. Oh,
this is my first time.
excellent show.
And he's
I'm excited
and
for
he's
you.
performing with Puddle's Pity Party.
Oh,
Puddle's Pity Party
Yeah.
mostly does covers in a new style and genre.
That's right.
That's their gimmick. That's creative. But
Oh,
it's still
yeah.
covers. And then Weird Al is parody, but not just parody. A lot of the songs people think are parodies are actually sound-alike pastiches.
Yeah.
Where he like nails the style of an artist so well that
But
you
it's
think
not,
it is a
it's
song
not
they wrote.
any specific song.
Yes.
It's just the
so good
sound.
at it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Rosemary Brown could have been a really good Weird Al.
She was a proto Weird Al. Weird Al was just starting with Dr. Demento in the 70s.
Yeah.
And that was when
It's
she
that
was at
level
the
of
high
musical
point.
genius where
Yeah.
AI, and the AI is being used to blatantly steal work of other creators without giving due credit, without attribution, and without compensation.
Yeah, yeah.
And in doing so is also the goal is that you no longer have to pay those people ever again.
Yeah,
There'll be no need
we
for
can
it.
just make new versions.
Yeah.
We have all the raw data we need to create new stuff
Yeah,
forever. For
and
free.
and that's
Yeah.
the nature of creativity. Is it a biological thing?
Mm.
Are these things that these AI are making? Is
Yeah.
it creative? It's like
Oof,
I mean,
yeah,
I
I
could
don't
argue that
know.
like that is a new combination of shit. Like I never would have thought of having
Yeah.
Madonna's head
And
coming
are
out
we
of that
being-
orifice.
Are we being prejudiced against robots because humans give it that spark that only a person can do, and the robots can never do that? I don't know.
And-
I find the AI thing fascinating. I do worry about what it means to devaluing art when
Mhm.
everybody can just make it for free and it sounds fucking really good a lot of the time. A lot of this AI things, like it's getting better and better, and it is remarkably good at doing. You could feed some lyrics in, and it'll make something in the style of somebody. And obviously, it's not 100%,
Mhm.
but it's getting better and better, and that is worrisome as far as where are we going with this? And you can extend that into all the AI video clips you
Yeah.
see of things. I mean, it's getting closer and closer into feeling like you could just have a computer make a movie for you, and now you don't have to pay actors
there's
or the
there's
entire
already
industry.
there's already been
It's going toward that fast.
there already
and-
was a movie made by AI.
Well, sure, but I'm saying like, boy, the movie studios will save a lot of money
Yeah.
by just leaning into that and not having to pay millions of dollars to actually have a production house
and
produce something.
relying on generative AI, Chat GPT and stuff. It actually there is psychological studies going on right now that are showing that it is affecting humans' abilities to be creative. We can no
Okay.
longer think our way out of problems.
Is it kind of if you don't use it, you lose it with the muscle?
I
Like,
guess it's just
you
it's
know,
a skill,
it's
that
interesting.
critical thinking is a skill that needs to be nurtured and developed. You don't just come out of the box.
Well, and it
with it.
makes you wonder a lot about, boy, I mean, it's been a while since I was in school, but like, how is it navigating writing an essay these days as a teenager? Like, all of these programs that claim to be able to tell when something was generated by AI versus not are notoriously inconsistent. And like, if no one's actually writing anything,
Who's watching The Watchmen? If you're
Yeah.
using AI to police the AI.
Yeah,
And
and
both
we-
are prone to mistakes.
yeah, and we're all just going in circles here. So what does it mean to make anything? And
But
yeah,
here's some good news, Garth.
oh please.
Good news.
I'm falling into a hole here, Cody. Help.
The latest data that is coming out is showing that the AI bubble is about to pop.
I've heard about that.
They said that 95% of companies who have been investing in AI have seen no return on their investment.
I mean, I'm not surprised because I think for the last 3 years or so, every single company has like been just so
trying to integrate it into everything.
And there's so, I mean, we live in Silicon Valley, or we live
Yeah.
on the foothills around the valley, and every time you drive around, you just see billboards with like Apple with AI, this AI powered everything. Everybody's so excited about this thing, but they don't know what it can actually produce of value. It just feels like,
And that's the thing.
it feels like this futuristic thing.
It's the .com bubble
It's
all
very
over
much
again.
like a bubble of perceived value in the future, but we're not quite there. But it's going to be great.
But that's exactly
know?
what the .com bubble was.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the same. We're doing the same goddamn thing, just less creatively.
Yeah.
It's fucking infuriating.
Oh, totally. Well, the older we get, the more often we'll see these patterns, and we wonder how could they have all been so dumb to fall for it again.
I guess as this episode is teaching us, it's all remix.
Everything is a remix.
Everything is a remix.
All this will this has happened all before, and this will happen all again.
I don't know.
I think we were pretty creative with this episode.
Yeah.
I think we said new things.
And I doubt anybody knew about Rosemary Brown.
I didn't.
I read about her in the Amazing Stories and True Facts book. It's again one of those things that young
Nice.
adolescent Cody was reading the story of this woman who was channeling dead people.
Yeah.
And I'd wanted to do this as a story for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Original idea for it was that I was actually going to try to trick our buddy Brian by having him listen to certain pieces and then
Do that double blind thing.
and then, well, this is by this composer, Chopin wrote this, and then revealed to him after, like, oh no, this is supposedly written by ghosts. But I didn't know how he'd react to that. So I was like,
I don't know that Brian would appreciate being
tricked. Yes.
So it's probably good you didn't do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I sat on it, and then I was just thinking recently, like, wow, I haven't talked about Rosemary Brown, and it's good to have topics that are like, here's a woman who was in a situation that was not great.
Yeah.
But she had a talent.
Yeah, and this is like this unique thing that happened.
Yeah.
In this way of...
And we didn't really get on the idea that,
Yeah.
like, mediums for a long time were always predominantly women.
That's interesting.
In spiritualism, it kind of gave women...
I can't think of a famous male medium. You're right. That was
just
very
that
much...
big douche, John Edwards. But that came much later. But
No,
like
I'm
the
I'm
heyday.
thinking of Victorian.
And so, in a
Yeah,
way,
you're right.
that's a whole
Whoa.
thing that we haven't really gone over.
That's
and that
super
now we don't
interesting.
have the time because the
We'll
battery's
do
about to
another
die.
episode sometime about gender and mediums. And
Yes,
like, why
and that
is
it is,
that,
yeah, and it
right?
is a way
That's
of
super
like,
interesting.
so it actually is like empowering women.
Yeah, it's this niche thing that was female dominated
And
a
so you have,
long
like,
time
it's
ago.
like Om Seti. Nobody would take her seriously until she said, like, no, I know these things because I was reincarnated. It's like, no, she just was a really good Egyptologist, could read hieroglyphics and like did the research, and nobody would take her seriously. And then here we have this situation of a woman who didn't give herself enough credit for being
it's kind of the
how-
other way around,
Yeah.
but adds up to the same thing. It's
and also, like, as I've talked about in a different podcast elsewhere about Sarah Winchester and the Winchester Mystery House, a woman with a lot of disposable income who had a passion for architecture and did it on her own. And then when she's gone, everybody's like, she was crazy. And it's like, no,
she's
she
been
just
very,
was an artist.
The ghost story of it has very much dismissed what was so cool about Sarah
and I might have to go
Winchester.
over that here on our own show.
We really should.
Yeah.
Because that's a big one, and that's right in our neck of the woods too. All right,
Okay.
guys. Well, that was something, wasn't it? That was a good one.
That was something.
Having not even finished the episode, I'll say that was a pretty good episode, Cody.
Yeah. Okay, let me pull up.
Oh, we have a little bit of housekeeping in the we're however many strong, but we've got a lot of monster squaddies these days.
Yes.
More and more all the time, it seems.
Make sure that I have, in the right place. Alphabetical. Yeah.
As the squad expands,
Our army is growing. Okay.
it's growing.
Our monster squadron squat. That sounds weird too. That was
Our
our
take your stutters and
New
make
York
them into,
City.
make them into deliberate pauses.
Our monster squadron squaddies are a cow's upper shoulder roast, aka Chuck, Travis Alexander, the Bi Barbarian, Rachel Krieger, Tom Dahl, Justin Duckham, Kelly Flynn, Gunnar Franks, Carla Harrington, Havelock, Christina Hurley, Ian, New Jared, Ken with 2 N's, or Bonnie Ken with 3, TJ Levenhagen, Alicia Overtone. Jordan Ramey, a different one, but the same one. Blue Roan, Sedifan, and Tatum.
Nice. Did you say Ian? Did I miss it?
I said it.
Okay. All
yeah,
right.
Ian,
well,
if you want to
be
be credited by a different name, or
mix it up a little bit. Maybe start with the indefinite article so you can get your way to the very top of the alphabet, Mr. Shoulder Roast, if that is your real name.
No, his name's Chuck.
Well,
Possibly Charles.
Thank you, everyone, and we sure appreciate you guys helping us out with the Patreon. It helps a lot. We have
Garth has a new microphone.
I have a new microphone, and that's all thanks to you guys. And Cody's been getting some gadgets for an upcoming special secret thing we're gonna try next month. So yeah, we're using it well, and we
used some of that Patreon money to buy the Hodag mystery box. There'll be an unboxing video. We're gonna do that.
That's right. We're gonna
this.
record that right now. So
all right. Well, until next time, topic to be decided. But until then, remember, the only thing that's haunted
is you all of you, the plural you, and the singular you.
Done.
These funny things I do. Oh, these funny things I do. But the joke is only funny if it breaks your heart in two. Yeah, the joke is only funny if the whole world is laughing at you.
Say goodbye.
It's quite wonderful to get to know these composers as people, and it is, of course, a great privilege. Chopin is not at all like I might have thought he would be. He's not melancholy at all. He's quite light-hearted. His conversation is bantering, and he often teases and makes little jokes. He's a very quick worker. He works far more quickly than any of the other composers. And I've also found that he's very considerate. If he's been working with me and we've got, say, 2 pages of music written out, and then he finds my concentration is waning because I'm getting tired, he winds the piece of music off quickly so it isn't left incomplete. But then sometime later, this can be weeks or months later, he'll come along and say, well, now I'll give you the rest of such and such a piece of music. And he'll give me quite a number of bars, perhaps 2 or 3 dozen bars, but instead of this being added to the end of the music, he tells me exactly where it has to be inserted in the music.
The Least Haunted podcast is recorded before a dead studio audience and is a presentation of Sequoidea Productions, LLC.